Ellen McCauley at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. And I really wanted to talk about this tonight because in order to get healthy and stay healthy, we need to stop some bad habits and start some good habits. And most of us, if I were to ask you, when I say how long does it take for a new habit to feel like it's stuck, most people would say 21 days. And that is a myth. It started in the 1960s by a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and I remember reading it. And it said that in 21 days, you could start, like if I said, I'm going to drink 8-ounce glasses today, and then in 21 days from now, it would be a habit that I would have for life. And what studies have shown, recent studies are showing, that it really takes at least minimum 66 days, and many times 5 months to a year. Wow. Now, when I gave up creamer in my coffee, I did it for a year, and then it got to the point where I just can't imagine having creamer in my coffee. And this was a person who had it white. People would say, "What is that? What is that, milk?" I go, "No, it's coffee. There's just a lot of creamer in it." I mean, Bob would say, "Have some creamer, coffee with your creamer." And I drink it black because I got into that habit. So we need to say, when my sister died in 2016, I started saying the rosary when I was sitting vigil with her every day. And before I would say it hit or miss. I'll do the rosary when I feel like it. Maybe. I see people doing it during Mass. I think you should pay attention at Mass and do the rosary other times. That's just me. No judgment, no judgment. But I decided in 2016 that I was going to say the rosary every day. I feel like my day isn't over. My day isn't complete. I have to say the rosary every day. I've been doing it 10 years. 10 years. It is a habit, saying the rosary every day. And that's a good habit. No one ever said, "She says the rosary every day. What a bad habit." No one says that, okay? Now, also, it's the type of habit. It's easier to say I'll floss my teeth every day than to run 5 miles every day. Okay, who could run 5 miles every day versus floss your teeth, right? But you need to start small. We also need to have habits that bring a little enjoyment. One of the things that I do is I keep track of everything. Like I write down, say the rosary. It's right here in my day timer. And then I highlight it. These are all the things I did today. And I write it down the day before. And then when I do it, I highlight it. It gives me joy to highlight it. Great deal of joy. And then the white things are things I haven't done yet. They stare right out at me, and I know I have to do them. And so all the habits that I have, I write them down. And like I would call my mother every single day. And every day I would write down, "Call Mom." I would write it down because it's a habit, and I would highlight it. It brings me pleasure. So whatever brings you pleasure, if it gives you pleasure to write it in your journal, I have, believe it or not, this is going to sound crazy. There are people in this room that say doing their food log gives them pleasure. I like it.
Doing a food log.
I enjoy doing my food log. I enjoy it a great deal. So whatever gives you pleasure, write it down. Also, celebrate. Whatever you've done something, my celebration is I've highlighted everything in my day timer, I can celebrate. But you can't make yourself fanatical about it where the point is. There's an old thing I learned in sales training. You write everything down you have to do, and then if you didn't finish something that day, not say the rosary, something like that, but let's say you write down, pay the bills. And you didn't get to it that day, write it down for the next day. Just write it down. So if you can't get to everything, it doesn't mean you're a loser, a failure. Just write it down again. Also, we need to prioritize. If you're writing down no snacks, or like go to the grocery store, plan your menu, that's the biggest thing that we're finding in this group there's no planning at all. And we need to be accountable. The weekly weigh-in is a way to be accountable. The log is a way to be accountable. And I really think for those of you who are retired especially, there's no reason why you can't be using MyFitnessPal. I want to marry it. It's free. You type in what you're eating and it tells you everything, how much protein, everything. I really recommend it. Also share your successes. You have small group here. Small group, you share things with them, things that make you successful. And the key to starting healthy habits is consistency. If you do it I love playing the piano so much. I love it. And I play 2 genres of music, praise and worship and Christmas carols. And I'm going to segue into Broadway tunes. And I said, this year I'm going to practice the piano every day. Every day. And I started January 1. And the only time I didn't practice it was the week on my cruise. And I am so much better on February 12th than I was on January 1. That's only 42 days, if you will, 43 days. I am Bob, how much better am I in 43 days?
Much.
It's amazing. So the consistency of doing it every single day makes you better at something. Isn't that crazy? Ask the people in the Olympics. Do you think they say, yeah, I want to ice skate and I want to win an Olympic gold, but yeah, I don't feel like it today. They don't say it. They go every day. They have a vision. They have a goal. And guess how many people? A fraction of them win medals. But you know what they did? They can always say that they were an Olympian. That no one can take that away from them. They are Olympians. And every single one of them, in my eyes, is a champion. They are a champion. And so they are consistent, they are accountable. And you know what's interesting? It's harder to break the bad habits than to build the new ones. If your family has had pizza every night on Friday, every Friday, your whole life, and all of a sudden you say, you know what, we're not going to have pizza this Friday. What? But you could segue into cauliflower crust pizza. You could segue into a few things. But there are certain habits that you need to break bad habits with new. If you're drinking too much soda, say, well, first of all, it's poison. I have read so much stuff recently on how bad soda is for you. I can't say it enough. So say instead of having a diet soda, you have water. So replace having that with the water, okay? Also, try tiny habits. Remember I said mini quitting? It's not a good idea to mini quit. Well, sometimes you have to have tiny habits. You haven't moved at all. I'm not asking you to run a 32-mile marathon. Say, you know what? I'm just going to try and get to 3,000 steps a day, and then write it down. I'm going to try to get in the next week 3,500. Mini habits, mini things. And, so many resolutions. I told you already, people quit. So have a mini habit like, I will stretch for 5 minutes after breakfast. That might sound easy, but do you ever try to do something for 5 minutes? 5 minutes is a while. Set a timer, try to do it. Also, say you want to move every day, drink more water, prioritize self-care. Take a short walk around the house. It's winter, but you can walk from the kitchen to the bathroom. You can go up the stairs, down to the basement. Even if you have a one-room apartment, you can walk across the room. You can walk somewhere. Also, try starting your day with a full glass of water. Just have a glass of water before you have anything. Try, after you brush your teeth, do a 5-minute stretch. Before you have your coffee, have a glass of water. And celebrate these little wins. We need to increase our balance, our strength, our heart health, our energy, mood, confidence, no matter how old you are. I have a friend who's a year younger than me. She got out of her car and her purse, she was driving, she got out of her car, her purse was in the passenger seat, and she was gonna open the door and get her purse and go in the house. Instead, she slid down the driveway, and she could not get up. And she laid there for 2 hours until someone, a neighbor, happened to look out the window and said, "What am I looking at? Is she laying there? What?" We don't want to be laying out in the driveway somewhere. We want to be able to haul our butts up. So let's just, and she had fallen too far away to even use the car to use it. She had literally slid down, it was so icy, she slid down the driveway. I remember once when I was in really good shape, I came out to take the garbage down to the curb, and our driveway goes like this. But my feet went under me, and I literally slid from the garage all the way down to the curb. That's how icy the driveway was. But I didn't kill myself. I was also like 40 years younger. Also, here's something else that I started on January 1. I want to go through one file a day, one drawer a day. When I get the mail, I immediately get rid of it. I shred it, I pay the bill, I do whatever it takes. If it's the Catholic Sun, I read it. I handle it immediately, because otherwise it starts going like this. Pile, 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 pile. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, Bob.